Hi everybody, I'm about to talk about another synastry placement. What happens when Jupiter in one person's chart conjuncts Chiron in another person's chart? Well, Jupiter is a planet of abundance, it's a planet of expansion, it's optimistic. In some senses, it is healing, it is co-ruled by Pisces as well as Sagittarius. So it does have that element of healing to it, being a Pisces planet. And it brings kind of spiritual and philosophical ideology and perspective into wherever it touches. And it does this in a very generous way. It is very kind of, it's just positive. So Chiron is an asteroid. It's ruled by Mercury, and it's called the wounded healer archetype because it's a place in our life, wherever you have Chiron, where you may never feel entirely healed. It's a source of pain. It's our greatest wound. But because it is so painful, it's an area that we continue to deal with and develop. And throughout the course of our life, it becomes an area where we are healers and where we are very wise and probably have a lot of perspective because we've had to alchemize and nurture this wound so consistently and regularly through our lives. So, the squirrels are chasing each other. Got distracted. Squirrel. So I've seen this in people's synastry charts a lot, and I think that it's a really interesting thing to experience in a partnership because on one hand, the Chiron person's wound is going to be expanded upon. So it can actually make the Chiron person feel extra vulnerable and extra aware of this area where they feel maybe even like embarrassment or insecure, and it's just sensitive. It's a wound. So because that's what Jupiter does, it expands. It can highlight the wound in the Chiron person a lot. And it will be almost like probably a day-to-day thing within a partnership with this, where there's days where the Chiron person is more aware of their wound, versus days where the effect Jupiter has on Chiron will be more of this healing kind of, oh, you feel pain in this area, let me bring you kind of like this soft landing. Let me give you that philosophy, that perspective to help you evolve this pain, to help you master this area of your life. So ultimately, and just depending on who the people are and what else is going on in the charts, it has the potential to be extremely beneficial to the Chiron person, but you're going to need to be willing to go through that process of having your Chiron, your wound, kind of brought to light and constantly being given this perspective that's going to nourish and nurture your wound. But even when it is a really positive influence, it's like you have to be willing to look at that area of your life. And if you're not, then you're just not going to receive the healing abundance that Jupiter has to offer. In which case, this conjunction can feel like an annoyance, and it can feel like this person just makes me insecure, and they just want to talk about this thing that really bothers me. So it kind of can go both ways, if you know what I mean, where it's up to you to make the conscious decision to accept and approach this part of yourself. As for how it goes for the Jupiter person, they're not going to be nearly as aware or feel like why. They're just existing, and somehow they're making this other person feel really insecure. And if anything, they are doing their best to just take care of the other person and try and support them. So they're not like sure why the Chiron person feels this way as much at all. But like if it's a partnership where the people are consciously working on themselves and putting energy into the partnership, and they are willing to approach it, then the Jupiter person can receive benefit, because who doesn't think it's cool that you're able to help this person evolve in a way that they really need the support, in a place that is really sensitive for them. So like if it's a couple like that, and you all are open and you're gentle and you're safe with each other, then the Jupiter person will be glad that their natural way is going to offer some perspective and some kindness in this area that the Chiron person has been so kind of like scorned by life. Yeah. So I hope that all made sense in the different ways it can play out. I have several different experiences with this one, and a lot of the time it does seem to persist in long-term relationships that are very committed. I think more often than not it is a beneficiary thing, because at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to get out of this lifetime without feeling uncomfortable and vulnerable at times, so you might as well surrender to the process. And I think most of us come to terms with that. And when you do let go and you surrender, then you're letting in this feeling of abundance from Jupiter. But yeah, and like hopefully the Jupiter person can tread a little bit lightly, because when we bring astrology into a relationship, you're given this key that brings you extra insight. And so hopefully knowing this, the Jupiter person can know that there really is a real reason why the Chiron person is feeling this way. So for them just to maybe, tread lightly, don't overdo it. Chiron hurts. So as much as the Jupiter person will want to just shine on and say, it's okay, blah, 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 like know that you are touching on probably the most sensitive part of this person, and let that be known. So yeah, if you like this video, please like, and if you like my content in general, please subscribe. I'm happy to take requests. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one.